Good morning, Joe. It's very peaceful. We've just heard the lovely sounds of an Uncle Archie Roach song. Demonstrators are gathering here at Belmore Park on Gadigal land in Sydney's CBD. There are plenty of Aboriginal flags and placards and passionate speeches. A smoking ceremony kicked off today's events to a cleansing song in language. The crowd will march shortly through the city to Victoria Park, where Yarbin Festival is taking place. Now, protesters are raising awareness on racial injustices, including the rising number of black deaths in custody, police mistreatment, land rights, but it's also to reflect on the anniversary that is painful for many First Nations people. The coming referendum is also on the agenda today. Here is one of the event organisers, Ian Brown, on what we can expect from today's rally speeches.
Our organising committee feels like there's been a lot of conversation within the media that's surrounding The Voice, and we feel like, as a collective, we feel that The Voice itself doesn't truly embody, I guess, the wants and needs of communities. Our old people weren't marching in the streets demanding a voice to government, a voice to Parliament. Our old people marching in the street asking for true recognition of our sovereignty. We're fighting for land rights. We're fighting for the same thing we've always been fighting for. The New South Wales Aboriginal Land Rights Act came in the Act, back in the 80s, came into power back in the 80s, and we still haven't got true recognition of land rights. We're in 2023 now, and we're still asking for the same things we were, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
And Carly, why is today a significant anniversary for the Day of Mourning movement?
Well, it's been 85 years since the first ever January 26 protests. It's known as the Day of Mourning. That conference happened at Australian Hall, not far from where I am now at this park. On that day, while Sydney Siders were celebrating 150 years since the British arrived, a group of Aboriginal men and women gathered at Australian Hall to protest 150 years of brutal mistreatment. They passed a resolution asking for citizenship rights, and they talked about issues that mob and allies at protests like today are still fighting.
And what are the key issues in focus there today?
This is, of course, the message that January 26th is not a day to celebrate. It's the anniversary of massacres, of dispossession, of loss of language and culture, the start of hundreds of years of racist government policies like the Stolen Generations that has caused intergenerational trauma and continued disadvantage. As we heard from event organiser Ian Brown, there will be a discussion here going on about the referendum on an Indigenous voice to Parliament. We're expecting to hear that some people here do want a treaty before a voice. That reflects only some views, Joe, in the community, and certainly not all the people here in this sizable crowd at Belmore Park today share those views. Many are protesting, like I said, black deaths in custody and social injustices, and of course January 26th being an anniversary of invasion.